Good morning, Sonder family. Welcome. It is a good day for a good day, even though we're all so cold. Thank you for dropping your temperature in the chat. I think we can, I'm sitting here freezing at 12 degrees, but it's not a negative. So I hope that you guys have on cozy socks, and I've got my super large cup of coffee to stay to pour the warmth inside. It's really, really good to welcome you to Monday morning setup. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy, and I'll be your on-camera facilitator as we walk through setting up this week. And you have the former Team Texas in the house this morning. Katie Gideon is joining us in the chat. She's popping on the screen, giving you a good Monday morning wave. If there is anything that comes up that you have a question about, drop that in the chat to Katie. She'll make sure that she gets you pointed in the right direction. And speaking of that chat, go ahead and make sure that you see your name to everyone, If you see two hosts and panelists, just Katie and myself will see your message, which is absolutely fine. But in these socials, we like to share kind of what we're thinking, which way we're going. And so we want to make sure that everybody can see your message. So let's see. We are going to dive in. We're setting up the third week of 2024. And I mean, how is it the 15th? It seems to be going by really quickly. So anyhow, let's jump into our time together. Now, when we do hop on together at these socials, we want to remind you of the Silk and Sonder community guidelines. We want to always create a safe space for those of us who are gathering. And of course, anytime that you are in Sonder Club, we just, no bullying, no hate speech. We eliminate promotions or spam kind of stuff. And again, if you have any questions, drop them to Katie. And if she's unable to help you, she will point you to hello@silkandsonder.com, which is our support email for Silk and Sonder. And then a reminder that our time together, these socials are always a tool to help elevate your emotional health. But we always want to remind you, if something ever hits wrong, just sit with it. You don't have to do all the things at the socials. You will always have access to a video recording when you come to these social events, so you can go back and rewatch, kind of think about what everybody's doing. I'm noticing my hair's a little funny, so there, get that fixed. And this month, ambition. And I know Katie and I have done the setups all weekend. So we've been working together, and we know that ambition is one of those themes that first some of us were kind of like, I don't know how this is hitting. So it's going to be interesting to finish out diving into ambition for the month. And I know we always say it when these themes feel a little funny or they hit a little funny, those are usually the themes that we need to work on the most, right? If it's a little bit of a struggle, then we're doing some deep digging, and that's good for us. We're growing, and we're just trying to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And Jenny just dropped in the chat that she just got her journal this weekend. So this is her first setup. Is there anybody else's first weekly setup? Please drop a chat or a me in the chat. We'd love to welcome you. I see a lot of familiar names, and then those of you who have been here, look at all our new friends. So welcome to the Sonder family. We love these setups because you're gonna kind of dig in and figure out how to make this journal work for you. But this is that accountability piece, and my I always like to liken it to the fact that if I'm wanting to walk a couple of miles every day, I'm probably more likely to do it if I know somebody's waiting at my front door to walk with me than if I have to make myself get out of bed and do it myself. So this is that accountability portion to help us be successful with this beautiful journal, this beautiful tool that will help elevate our lives. So Welcome, welcome. Please keep coming back to these setups. It's just such a great way to hang out with great positive people and start our week. Our agenda today, we're going to do our ambition mind map. And so if you're brand new, I'll explain a little bit in detail about the mind map in just a second. We do a rosebud thorn reflection. We're going to do that reflection every single week at these weekly setups. It's just kind of a look back over the past week, and we kind of can see what we want to leave behind and what we want to take forward into a new week. And then I have a ton of examples to show you on how you can set up your journal for the week. Now, a pro tip, especially if this is your very first time, feel free to grab screenshots of something you see that you might want to consider in your journal. Or I used to sit with my cell phone when I first started using this journal, and I would just take a literal picture of the screen going, oh, I might want to think about that. These spaces, you're invited to use all these spaces just as they are. And you have options to change anything up that maybe doesn't speak to you when you consider how to use this journal in your life. So I'm going to have a lot of examples from fellow Silk and Sonder members that will help kind of guide you and figure you where as you figure out how to use these pages to make it the best tool for you. So I mentioned the mind map. This is a really cool aspect of our weekly setups. When you come to a weekly setup each week, we're going to have a question for you based around the theme of the month to help us kind of do that deep dig, figure out what that theme means to us. And, it's just a great way to frame that theme out through that lens, right? So we'll be asking, 4 little journal prompts, one each week. And so this week we are on week number 3. And I'll tell you a little bit about where you can put this in your journal. Give me just a sec, because I know you're like, where is this? This is not in your journal. This is kind of that bonus content. So there are for week 1 and week 2 questions, and week 3 for this week is, how do you think about ambition versus short-term sacrifice? And then we're given this example, and I'm going to be honest with you, Katie shared it, her 2 setups this week, and this one kind of hurt her feelings, and I'm on board with that. Katie and I, for Team Texas, doesn't do a really good bedtime, right? We feel really badly about our sleep habits. Katie and I've always commiserated with that. But this example is, you could watch TV and relax each night, kind of, let the hours fly, or you could give up an hour's TV each night and learn a complex skill in a few months' time. And we were kind of like, wait a minute, but I like my TV time. So that's just an example of looking at ambition versus short-term sacrifice. But the bottom question is, why do you choose what you do? So I really want you to focus on the question, how do you think about ambition versus short-term sacrifice? And why do you choose what you do? All right, let's frame that out with those first things. And yes, Julia is dropping in the chat, rest is important too. And sometimes learning a new skill is. And we forget that maybe rest is an activity, right? We feel like a little guilty when we rest, but it is an activity. So I've got a couple of quotes that I thought were very interesting. James Clear is the father of all the good habits, right? He wrote that Atomic Habits book. We're all fans. But this quote's pretty powerful. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. But then as the decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. The roots entrench themselves and branches grow. The task of breaking a bad habit is like uprooting a powerful oak within us. And I think that is important to remember, because, we have all these great intentions at the front end of a year, especially. And these things are ingrained in us. So we need to be grace-filled with ourselves as we start tackling habits and considering maybe something, what we choose and why we choose it, and take it bit by bit. And then there's this restaurant in Austin, Texas called El Arroyo, and they always have these funny signs in front. And like, so this is like the reality of these habits. I always set two alarms, one for the person I want to be, and then one for the person I really am. So, I wanted just to kind of throw that out there and remind you, we're human and there's these versions we want to keep changing into and growing into. So there's my mind map. I chose to do it on that quote page of the month. I just set mine up. So if you're sitting there brand new, you can do it on a quote on the quote page, kind of divide that page up. You can do it on a blank page in your journal, the definition page. Some people like to do that weekly scratch pad where they will answer the prompt in the weekly scratch pad, maybe just sticky notes. And then just remember, you're the greatest project you're ever going to work on. You have the patience, the strength, and the passion to achieve your ambitions, your goals, and your dreams. All you have to do now is try. And the beautiful part about ambition is you get to decide what ambition is in your life. It's not what the world is telling you ambition is. It's what is going on for you in your life. So keep that in mind as you consider these questions. I will scroll back and forth between these slides while we're working on this prompt, and I'll be back in to check with you. Feel free to drop some of the things you're thinking in the chat as you're comfortable. Okay, some really good stuff is coming up in the chat. Thank you for sharing. And again, you don't have to complete this prompt right now. Sometimes these things need to kind of bounce around in your head, and there are going to be themes that will just stay with you when you figure out, like, wow, this is really making me consider things in my life. One of those for me was a couple of years ago, the theme of indulgence. And today I still make decisions based on that work I did with indulgence, and allowing that in my life. So, once again, you get to define what ambition is in your life. And this may be one of those themes that really helps you get to know yourself better. So, thank you for sharing in the chat. You guys had some gold. One of the things I saw, balance, right? It's all about balance. So as we're chasing those ambitious dreams, we also want to make sure that we are caring for ourselves. At my coloring social last week, we actually did a breathing activity before we began our practice. And part of our reflection during our coloring time was how that intentional breathing and relaxing and the practice of coloring can balance out ambition and then make that ambition more fruitful in our lives. So let's now turn to page 36. And as I said, this is that rosebud thorn reflection that we do every single week. We kind of just do a quick look back at how the week went. And the rose is going to be something that you're grateful for, things that are going well, things that brought smiles to your faces, those things you want to celebrate. The buds are emerging opportunities. What's coming up for you? What are you thinking about? And a lot of times I kind of have trouble with a bud. And so I just remind myself, well, a new week is also a bud, a new day is a bud. And then the thorns are exactly that. What's causing you stress? And some of the thorns we have are temporary, and then some are long term. I know that there's a lot of health stuff out there, right? You're either a caregiver or you're dealing with health issues yourself. And so sometimes those thorns just don't go away. There's a lot of power in reflecting upon them and putting them on paper. My reflection this week, you'll see that my rose and my thorn are the same thing. And I've got, it's keeping the Ogle 3. My last name is Ogilvy. I call my grandkids the Ogle 3, and we have 3 under 6, and I had them all week. So my heart is so full, but my body is so tired. So today, talk about ambition. My ambition is to go, I'm going to go binge watch in my bed and I am resting today. And then my bud this week is this nasty weather and there's ice everywhere. It's cold. We don't want to get out, but I'm trying to embrace it in a positive frame of mind because this very, very cold day means that everything is frosted up and all my old stuff from the garden is going to go to bed and be done. And it reminds me that spring and newness in life is coming. I'm a big gardener now that I'm retired, so I'm trying to be excited about those seasonal changes. Let me put on a song while you do your reflection. Feel free to share in the chat as you are comfortable, and I'll come back in and check on you in just a moment. Thank you for taking time for this reflection this morning. We celebrate your roses and just remind you that through those thorns, you've got the Sonder family, and we are here to support you through those thorny times. So we're glad you're here. Let's dig into the main event, shall we? We're going to be working on our weekly setup. So turn to page 40. We're going to be working on page 40 and 41 this morning. Now, this is not an all-exhaustive list, but this is a great list of things that you can put in these spaces in your journal, kind of depending on who you are, what's going on in your life. When I mentioned that I love to garden, when the spring comes, my mind body health plan is pretty much my garden tasks for the week. And sometimes I'll even do my habit tracker based on everything that I need to do in the garden. So you get to adjust this journal to fit exactly what's going on in your life. So this is a great screen to take a screenshot of if you're kind of learning how to use your journal and kind of figuring out exactly what you want to put in that journal. All righty, so we're going to start off by embracing how we want to feel this week. That's that very first little box up there that says, this week I want to feel. And there's not a right or wrong way to do that. So let me show you a bunch of examples of what folks do with this space. You can do one word, you can do a quote, you can do a sentence. And so I want you to think about, how do you want to feel this week? And drop that in the chat right now. As you notice, there's somebody who put they want to feel more of something and less of something. That's a beautiful way to frame that out. And then you'll see that little cartoon of that guy rowing that bear in a boat. And good. Keep dropping your stuff in the chat. But I want to tell you, this week I want to feel able to inspire my students. This person has started a new career and posted this in Sonder Club and said, when you are lacking for something to do, maybe go hit up your magazines or, find an image that will embrace that feeling. I'm seeing things like, this week we want to feel energized, productive, connected. I love that. Sweaty, strong, and healthy. Good for you. You've got some fitness goals in your new year. Feel focused and accomplished and feel at ease. I love these. Thank you for sharing that. There's again no right or wrong way to do this. There's a whole bunch of feeling words there on the bottom right. If you're lacking for like, I'm not really sure how I want to feel, think about what you have coming ahead. Think about when you're wrapping up this week. How do you want to feel? How do you want to look back when you're looking at those rosebuds and thorns? How did the week go? So thank you for sharing that. And now that we have embraced those feelings, let's move on to those weekly 3 major goals. Now, really quickly, it doesn't always have to be 3 major goals. It could be one really super duper big goal. It really depends on what you have going on in your life. And yes, let's see. Somebody's asking. Yes, Sam Daly asked, can I put that list back up? I will do that when we go to work on this section, Sam. So when you're looking at those 3 major goals, sometimes I would look at this space and go, oh, major. And man, talk about like, does this align with ambition or what? Right. So here's a lot of ways to frame out these goals this week. Go look at that intentions page or your habit tracker. How are you doing with those things? Do you need to reflect and maybe do a different intention? Are there some goals that you could create from those intentions, from those habits? Create 3 no goals. Are there things you're wanting that don't serve you that you're wanting to eliminate? So maybe, no doom scrolling. I know a couple of you shared that in that journal prompt that we started with. No mindless social media. Maybe you take on a personal challenge, like a fitness challenge this week, and all your goals will have something to do with that challenge. focusing on the ambition for the month. That's a good way to decide what your goals will be. And then there's a whole bunch of different categories there on that slide. And I have some physical examples to show you what it looks like if you just choose categories for your goals. So something I will often do is I call it frog, fruitful, and fun. And the frog is a goal I have, and it's something I don't want to do, right? Like maybe maybe like clean the oven. And then the fun is something I want to do that's fun for me, get in my flow state, probably a hobby. And then the fruitful is maybe something that I feel is very productive for our family. So it could be sitting down with the budget. Maybe I meal plan. Maybe I make my menu. So I like to frame my 3 goals out with that kind of category. Did you choose a word of the year? Maybe that word of the year can guide you into your goals, or go take a look at that vision board. Are you making strides for the vision that you have for your year? So there's that list. If you want to grab that screenshot really quickly of the different things that you can do there. And I will scroll back to that. And then here's some examples of how Sonder family members set this space up. So you can see there's those feelings they want to have. And then we drop down and we look at those goals and how they have framed those out. Lots of different examples. I'm going to go through these slides while you're working, while our music is playing. I do want to point out, if you'll see these 2 that are on the left, the goals are set in place, and then they connected it to their weekly to-dos. So the one at the top says a mind, they're doing these 3 goals: mind, body, soul. Their mind, either meditate or take time to reflect. And then if you go across there, they want to be sure that they are being present, they're being a listener and an observer, and they're staying curious. So that's how they're meeting that mind goal for the week. And the same thing with body, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to go through these slides back and forth so that you can kind of set your 3 major goals this week. And let me also point out, you don't have to do the goals here. You can use this as a little tracker. You can put quotes here. You can put a sticker here and just focus on your to-dos for the week. Here's an example of how someone changed up how they want to feel, and then they made a little weekly expenses place in that place of the 3 major goals. So it's really what you want to do. And then we'll look at those to-dos. Those to-dos should tie into your goals, maybe. Maybe they stand alone, but I did find this little quote that I hope makes you laugh. Happy your anniversary to the bag of clothes for donation on the chair in the corner of my room. What are those undones that need to happen this week? Put those in your to-dos. Now, a lot of folks will set the to-do section up with a need and a want and a hope to-do list. There's an example of that. And then we love the Eisenhower matrix in Sonder Club. If your to-do list is gargantuan and you're not sure where to start, check out the Eisenhower matrix, because by plugging those to-dos into these spaces, it allows you to take those important and urgent items and prioritize them all the way down to the things that are not so urgent and not so important that can probably be deleted. You can figure out, get rid of those. When I have a lot to do, I tend to do the things that are super easy and quick instead of the things that really need to be done. And this is a good tool. Yes, Christy, thank you for posting in Sonder Club. I grabbed those things that I saw. And then here are some more to-do lists. You can see, just divide it up into sections. If that's what works for you, you can use it as that to-do list, or you can change it into a how do I want to be? How am I going to embrace that feeling that I said I want to have? And you make a to-be list. So, and then I leave my to-do box blank every week, and I go back. It's my ta-da box, and things that I get done, I put in there to celebrate, to get that little dopamine hit of hooray, I did that. My to-do list goes in my Monday, my weekday spreads. I put my to-do list on every day. So there's a bunch of examples. Now we're going to work on our to-do list and we're going to work on our three major goals. Share in the chat. Do you repurpose? Do you just put some stickers in these spaces? I'm going to give you time to work on that and I'll come back and check with you in just a moment. Okay, good job working on all the things, right? This is kind of that productive part of our week, I think, when we work on this first page. So now that we've kind of defined what our to do, our to be lists are going to be, our goals for the week, let's take a look at what our habits and activities are going to look like for the week. Now, we've got that big tracker in the front, that round tracker in the front of our journal. And those are those habits that we plan to do most days of the month. Those should be kind of those regular habits that we're looking at. The beauty of the habit and activity tracker in the weekly spread is that these can be set up just to fit that particular week. So there may be something you need to do, but you only need to do it twice. So you're going to track it for that week, for this week, on the 2 times you want to do it, right? It can be changed up to fit what's going on this week. And one of my weekly habits is go check the monthly habit tracker, which makes me turn the page back to that monthly tracker where I have all the things I want to do on a daily basis. So I mentioned James Clear earlier, and we always like to explore habits. And he suggests if you're trying a new habit, pair it with something you're already doing. So perhaps it could be something like you're going to start taking a morning vitamin and you don't want to forget to do that. You could pair it with make my bed because you're already making your bed. So it would be make my bed, take my vitamin. You would create that new habit with that. Another thing he suggests is making sure that you don't miss a new habit 2 times in a row. It's okay to miss. We have a life. Sometimes things don't go our way. We give ourselves grace when something doesn't happen. But he says to really establish a habit, you want to make sure you don't miss twice in a row. One time's okay, but then pick back up and get going the next day. That's pretty critical for me. I always have these intentions to, get my fitness on, and if I need to remember, get back up on that horse if I miss a day. So that's just some James Clear knowledge for you. So here's what that section looks like in other people's journals, how they fill that out. You'll notice the one in the top left, someone is tracking minutes of that particular goal or activity for a week. So you can frame your goal out with a time amount allotted for that goal, or you can completely ignore the goal and just kind of track when whatever is on those lines happens and not set a goal. You know what you need. If the goal feels like too much pressure and then you're going to get disappointed in yourself, just don't do the goal and just do the tracking. And then you can be aware of, well, I missed on Tuesday. Why did I miss on Tuesday? And maybe start there to figure out what needs to be in place. I love the reminder on the middle left that says, take a break this week and breathe. Sometimes we get so into our journals that we forget to just enjoy that journal. This is supposed to be a tool to make us feel better, not to overwhelm. So give yourself permission to maybe not do the tracker this week if you need that break. You'll see the very bottom, someone is repurposing this space as, reflections for the week. And they stuck some lines just completely over that whole section, got some paper and taped in with washi tape. And then look over in the middle on the right. That is kind of a gamification of these habits and activities where you do something 5 times, something 4 times, something 3 times, something 2 times, on down, that countdown. And there is a lot of science happening right now about what happens in our brain when we gamify some of the things that we want to do in our life that maybe we're not doing. But if we can reward ourselves with a check mark or filling in a dot, we get those good hormones dumping in to our brain because we've gamified that. So that's something I'm kind of exploring a little bit in my life, that satisfaction of getting the thing done. And then I loved seeing this one on the very bottom. Look at the very bottom line. It is color coded for attending the socials and then maybe some webinars that are going on in their life. So that's a fun way. And I take a medication every third day. And so one of my habits is that medication, and then I just circle the day that I need to take it because otherwise I lose track. So you can circle the actual days that something happens or you want your intention for it to happen. Here's a lot of inspiration if you're sitting there going, I don't know where to start. And then again, permission to self to maybe do one or two habits. Don't take on too much. We want to set ourselves up for success, not failure. So I'm going to give you time to work on that. And I'll be back to check in with you in just a moment. Okay. Just a reminder that these can be the same habits every single week. You don't have to come up with new things. So remind yourself of that. We don't need to reinvent the wheel because we're trying to make habits. So we need to kind of be on wash, rinse, repeat with those things that we really want to incorporate in our lives. So now we're going to go to the next page. Katie loves to refer to this page as the side B of the record album. This is that side that tends to just get repurposed. You can adapt it and I've got the wrong page there. It should be page 41. I forgot to change that page number. We're going to look at the meal plan, the mind body health plan, the shopping list. And all of the ideas I'm going to show you can go into really any of these spaces. So let's take a look at how folks set up the meal plan and how they make the meal plan work for them. Now, I threw this new one in there, the meal plan for my soul. That was one that popped up this weekend when Katie was facilitating the weekly setup. We love that repurpose. How am I feeding my soul? And there are those reflection questions, one for each day. Isn't that a beautiful idea? So grab that screenshot if that's something that's speaking to you that you might want to look into. The one next to that, a national day of. How am I going to embrace this day through a little bit of fun? Oh, good. Michelle's saying, I finally figured out how to repurpose my meal plan. It's so nice when you find the thing that works for you in your journal. Now, don't worry, I'm going to go back and forth between these slides when you're working on them, but you can do learnings, you can track your energy, and look how that person did kind of at the bottom middle. They're tracking their energy, giving themselves a number score for how they're feeling, and they're also looking at their caffeine intake. So they're pairing those two trackers together. Those water droplets are, if you're tracking what you drink, you can color code them. You can also use those water droplets as some kind of a rating scale on 1 to 8, maybe how you're feeling or maybe your energy levels. Again, I know you can read, so I'm going to just kind of scroll through these so I can give you time to work in these sections. But these are just a lot of wonderful examples from you. Here's the Mind Body Health Plan. In my journal, this is the space that gets repurposed almost every week. I try something different here every single week about how I'm going to take care of myself. And so here's some great examples. Love the reflection up there on the upper right, a little self-care plan. How do I feel? And what is that telling me what I need? I feel, so I need. And that's a good morning reflection piece or an end of the day reflection piece. So love that one. Yes. And then just a daily win. Sherry just said, I love that one. Yeah. What was your win for the day? And you just write that one thing down that you're so proud of yourself for. Some more ways to frame that out. Maybe you're just checking out a song a day. So you could lean into ambition through those songs. And then love these, always love a 7-day challenge. And so this is a really good way of kind of framing out that gratitude, or the hygge in the middle there. That hygge is that mindset of coziness in the wintertime. It's from Scandinavia. So those are beautiful, kind of that slower living sort of stuff. I have done the self-esteem journal many, many times in this space. And then some alliteration days are always a fun way to frame one of these spaces out. And then that shopping list, man, this is also just a sweet space. Use it as a shopping list, but also, you can use it as a bingo board. I put my tasks and my treats bingo board here every week, and so it's kind of the things that I really need to get done. Kind of those frogs. Cleaning the oven, scrubbing the shower, doing the toilets, nothing big, but also a treat like maybe sit and read for 30 minutes. And when I've written it down, I make sure that I make time for doing that. People are using it as different types of trackers, a step tracker, a check-in tracker where you're checking in with the people in your lives. I leave that one in there because I just love it. And then we had that loving box, my I am loving. What are you loving right now, today, at this very moment? You drop that in there, just that nice, sweet little reflection. So let me stop talking. I want to give you plenty of time to work on this, and I'll be back in to check with you in just a moment. Why does our time together always go so fast? Our hour is over. I don't want to keep you after class too long. That would be terrible. You've got a week to embrace. I want to encourage you to go look at page 39. We are in the middle of January. Go take a look at that currently page. Fill that out. Do that reflection. Do that mid-month check-in. Pair it with that intentions page. How are those intentions going? How are those habits in your habit tracker going? Do you need to change something? It's okay to change it mid-month because we're on this long journey. It's not linear like our little quote box says. Share your setup in our Sonder Club if you're comfortable. There are those QR codes right there that can give you a referral amount for sharing with a friend, upgrade to your annual subscription and save a lot of money, do a social survey. You can also find the QR codes in the back of your journal, as well as you will receive a follow-up email to our time together this morning. And then there is my playlist for our time together today. It's my ambition playlist. So it is filled with songs. It's a hot mess, is what it is. And I will drop that link. It's a Spotify link. It's public, and I will share that. I just drop that in the chat. And we gotta go. And we gotta go have a fabulous day. My friends, thank you for carving out this time today. It's going to be a great week. We're embracing the rest of January with power. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.